key is interior pressure so JT can go eat. And he does eat. The guy can't move. The quarterback can't move in the pocket. Finally, Jack Sawyer comes up and under. But what's the common denominator? There's no room, Brady, to step up in a pocket. They got to get that fixed.
See, I think they've got to stop what was happening in that game before they get to the pass plays, and that's stopping the run. It's too oftentimes these rushers are rushing upfield, creating huge gaps in the running game. Ohio State allowed over 150 yards, the most they allowed all season, 5 yards per run. You can't allow that to happen, so that needs to be fixed first and foremost. Then you don't put your quarterbacks on islands like they did. So the bottom line is Ohio State defensively needs to get back to stopping the run, selling out for that, and then let your defense go ahead and hunt when it's those times plus passing downs.
To me, this Ohio State team, I'm not worried about them right now. But to me, in the biggest game that matters the most, they've lost the battle at the line of scrimmage. They haven't been as physical in their last 8 losses, coach. They've lost the run game battle. That also, when talent equates, you have to get pressure on this quarterback. You have to protect the quarterback. And so I think their physicality at the line of scrimmage is paramount if they want to be a national championship team.
That's the other thing is just looking at, too, the way Will Howard's handled pressure. Like, the big story is how that game ended. Look, that is a career-defining moment for Will Howard. He's in that position at quarterback because of his experience. And in that moment, not to be able to give your team a chance or a shot to win it, that's on him. He's had to deal with that for 2 weeks now. He'll have a shot for redemption, potentially, if they get back on track this week. But it's also Will Howard. Curious to see how he responds from that today.
And back to the pressures, 15.5 pressures per game. That is only 9th in the Big Ten. The loss to Oregon notwithstanding, this Ohio State team has championship quality and aspirations. As they chase a 40th Big Ten title and a playoff berth, they remain a unit built firmly in the image of this iconic program.
To play at The Ohio State means to bleed scarlet and gray.
They want to be Buckeyes. You're seeing, a bunch of guys who, are moving around with urgency. They have purpose, and it's as strong as it's ever been.
I mean, it's everything and more that I could ever imagine. Growing up in Columbus especially, it's been so surreal for me to be a part of Ohio State.
To cheer here means 4 letters.
The world-famous Ohio State Buckeyes.
To win here means living in the moment.
You got to focus on right now and not worry about what's coming down the road or what's happened in the past.
Will Howard to get to the Oregon 30 and slide and go down. Over. And that's the game.
We got to grow from this and learn from this. And, this obviously isn't how you want to do it.
Well, we got goals, man, and they're standing in our way.
Every year it seems like the bar gets ratcheted up for Ohio State.
All bets are on. We're putting everything on this season.
Emeka Egbuka down the sideline.
It was a party in the end zone. Word is ball.
Standard is standard. You come to Ohio State for a reason, and it's to compete at the highest level, compete for a national championship every year.
To pursue greatness here means building stars.
Jeremiah Smith, who is the brightest young player in college football. These running backs, they are tremendous.
To survive here means withstanding the pressure.
We're not oblivious to the pressure that's being placed on us, but we're trying not to let it affect us. We're playing for each other.
It's a position that every team across the country wishes they were in, and it's just on us to go out there and get the job done.
To play, cheer, win, and achieve greatness here means everything.
We've talked about this team this year, and you heard it in the piece there with the players. It feels like national championship or bust for Ohio State really every year, but in particular this year with the way this team was assembled. And the narrative around Ryan Day is he can't win the big game. He's 2-7 versus top 5 ranked teams. The last loss came a couple weeks ago to Oregon. We all believe they're going to handle business today, next week. But how do they get over the hump, Coach? It's a mentality, and that's what it is. That's the missing piece. They have the pieces. It's a mentality. Can they fix that this year moving forward?
Can they get over their first defeat of the season, knowing what lurks next Saturday in Happy Valley, Nebraska, trying to prove their last Saturday was an outlier moment? Can Dylan Raiola and company respond here inside of the Horseshoe in front of 100,000? Time for the game call. Upstairs to Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt.
afternoon Saturday is sponsored by AT&T Business. Reliability for your business is our business. Welcome to the legendary Shoe, where today we've got Big Ten football for you as the Nebraska Cornhuskers come into town to take on the world-famous Ohio State Buckeyes, ranked 4th in the land. Hi, everybody. I'm Gus Johnson along with the quarterback, Joel Klatt. And welcome to Columbus, folks, where these two teams have faced similar experiences. Last week, well, 2 weeks ago, Ohio State went to Eugene and they lost to Oregon. Defense didn't play as well as they would have liked. They didn't have any sacks. They didn't have any turnovers. They gave up close to 500 yards, 341 yards through the air. Meanwhile, for Nebraska, they got their hats handed to them in Bloomington last week against this Indiana team that's turning a lot of heads. Their young quarterback struggled. Worst game so far, 3 interceptions. He also fumbled the ball. 5 total turnovers for Nebraska. 5 rushing touchdowns they gave up. So they have a chance to reflect both teams, and we'll see what comes out.
You know, in so many ways, as humans and as football players, our character is revealed through how we deal with adversity. It's easy to be positive when everything's going right, but how do you deal when things don't go right? Well, we're going to find out the response from Ohio State and Nebraska today, and I think namely it's the quarterbacks. Will Howard, with the way that the game ended against Oregon, that's a cloud that's going to be hanging over his head. He desperately wants to get back onto the field and back into the rhythm of this offense, and he's got 2 backs that they've got to get on track. Running the football is imperative for this team, and the Buckeyes have been very good at it until the second half against Oregon. You got to get Travion Henderson and this guy, Quinshon Judkins, going in the run game. This is a team that I think should and probably can average over 200 yards on the ground. Now, the questions about response will also extend, Gus, to your point, on the other side with Nebraska and their young quarterback, Dylan Raiola, who's having a fabulous true freshman season, but running into the speed bump. And that speed bump in the form of Indiana, the turnovers crept up. And if he wants to win today and lead his team to an upset victory over Ohio State, he's got to play clean and not turn the football over.
All right, time to join the 3rd member of our team on the sideline. Let's go downstairs to the All-American girl, Jenny Tabb.
Well, Gus, the truth is it really was a long 2 weeks for Ohio State following that loss to Oregon. When we sat down with a handful of the players yesterday, they told us we flushed it. We were pissed off. Enough talk, cleats on the ground, time to go play. You guys mentioned Will Howard. He told us the only thing he can do following a loss like that is learn from it. He told me he stayed off social media, spent time with his team, with friends and family, people he trusts. And he also said, I want to be able to look back at that loss as a turning point before this team goes all the way to win a national championship, because the goal here, it remains the same. And he said no one on our team ever wants to feel that feeling again after a loss. They're highly motivated to get back out there.
All right, Jenny, you're absolutely right. Ohio State expected to win the national championships this year. Nebraska, they want to go to a bowl game. They are 1 win away. Perfect weather conditions here in Columbus. 57 degrees. It's nice and cool, folks. Welcome to the Midwest during the best time of the year. Ohio State won the toss, deferred. Nebraska will receive the football. This is a series that dates back to a 1955 meeting here in Columbus. Ohio State leads it 9 games to 1, and they've won the last 7. The last time these two teams met, 2021 in Lincoln. Ohio State won it 26-17. C.J. Stroud had a big game. Threw for 405 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jackson Smith and Jigba, 15 catches, 240 yards. And a score also by Chris Olave. So Will Howard, the Kansas State transfer, is playing some really good football this season. Will wait his turn as Nebraska will get it the first time. That ball keeps blowing off the tee. Somebody's going to have to hold it.
Giving us a pump fake now twice.
I see. Little wind here in Columbus. Rain earlier today, about 10 a.m. Rain came down. So Fielding will send it away. Quentin Ives is the deep man for Nebraska. Buckeyes, Cornhuskers. Here we go from Columbus. This ball fielded and Muff covered up at the 9-yard line. Little dangerous action going on there. Ives had to just fall on the football. So that brings on a young man, Dylan Raiola, who last year was playing a high school game this time of year. Now he's playing in front of 100.
A week ago against Indiana, they started on their own one because of problems with the kickoff return. Another problem here, and they start Gus inside the 10.
First down and 10 at the 9-yard line for Nebraska. And they hand it off on first down. And Dante Dowdell slipping. And he'll lose a couple of yards on the play. Let's take a look at the Cornhuskers on offense.
Third string left tackle, Gunnar Gatula. He's going to have his work cut out for him against that pass rush for the Ohio State Buckeyes. And in the back end, watch out for Ja'Cory Barney. He's a true freshman, lots of talent there. And then Thomas Fidone, the tight end, number 24. Best game of his year last week against Indiana.
Second down and 12 at the 7. Raiola sidearm. And he finds Emmett Johnson, gets upfield. Johnson to the 15. A year ago tomorrow, Dylan Raiola led Buford High School to a 51-0 win over Mountain View High School, completing 10 of 12 passes for 201 yards and 4 touchdowns in front of 5,000 fans. Now he's playing in front of 100 plus.
And against a great defense that is hungry and wants to correct the mistakes from a week ago. And you got to pay attention to that pass rush. I know they didn't get to Oregon, Gus, but they are ready to rock today.
Dante Dowdell in the backfield. Third down and 6. Raiola in trouble. Raiola, and he'll be sacked at the 5-yard line. Tyleik Williams getting into the backfield. And Nebraska will have to punt it away, a loss of 8.
Well, here's what Coach was talking about in the pregame show was interior push, and you see a blitz there from Styles, and then there's the push from the interior, and Tyleik Williams is there for the sack. Raiola nowhere to go, and Nebraska is going to have to punt it away, and that's exactly what Ryan Day wanted to see from this defensive front.
Ryan Day spending a lot of time over the last 2 weeks with the defense. Jim Knowles, the defensive coordinator, with no problem with the head coach sticking his nose in there, and now a shank punt that'll take a bounce and go out of bounds at the Nebraska 35. So Nebraska off to a horrible beginning. 31-yard punt for Buccini. And that'll bring on this Ohio State offense. 2 weeks they've had a chance to plan for this one.
And it brings out Will Howard. Plus, everyone's going to remember, that last play and not getting down in time and the clock running out. But, boy, up to that point, he had played so well. 339 total yards. He's got 19 total touchdowns in the year. And the coaches rave about his ability to process information and what he can handle in the game plan. And they feel very confident with number 18 moving forward.
14 passing touchdowns, 5 rushing touchdowns for the Kansas State transfer. He'll throw it on first down, and he throws it out wide to Carnell Tate, and makes a couple of people miss and gets close to that first down marker for the young man from Chicago, Illinois, offensively for the Bucks.
Got a new left tackle. Zen Mahalski is in for the injured Josh Simmons. That is a huge question mark now with number 65 over there on the left side, and then the skill position. Gus, this is the best skill position group in America. And they're going to be looking for redemption here today.
After a gain of 8, 2nd and 2 at the 28. Deion Henderson in the backfield. Howard with pressure, and Howard is sacked. Great rush by this Nebraska squad. Jamari Butler, the junior from Mobile, Alabama, with the sack, a loss of 8.
Beautiful job by Butler, and he was working against that new left tackle, Zen Mahalski, and now this defense that was really embarrassed last week against Indiana, they've got to hang their hat on something. They want to hang their hat on stopping the run and being tough, and Matt Rhule is going to love the way it started right there with a Butler sack.
Third down and 10 at the 36. Nebraska with 2 excellent defensive tackles. Howard over the middle and caught Not enough for the first down, however. And this ball caught by Emeka Egbuka. He gains 9 on 3rd and 10.
You can see this in-breaking route from the outside. It's on time, it's on target, but just a bit short of the chains. Good tackle by the secondary. But as Ryan Day has been all year, and more so than previous years, going to be aggressive here. Keep his offense on the field and go for it on 4th down.
Went for it on 4th down a couple of times against Oregon 2 weeks ago and was successful. Led to 14 points. 4th down and short.